18th of March 2018, episode 2.
Wow.
Did you like my intro?
Wow. What's the name of this?
It's called Positively Negative.
Wow.
Yeah, and on the picture it looks like you're the positive one and I'm the negative one.
But in reality,
It's
still the
us.
same. Yeah, probably is.
Thanks to the 6 people who listened to the last one.
Wow.
Where are you from? And
We were
why
2
are you...
of them.
Yeah. Why are you listening to us, you mentalists? What is your purpose? Not in life, but why? Why? Where are you from?
Where?
That's one of the things about podcasts, actually, that is a little bit empty and hollow, is that you could be accidentally skipped and played on somebody's car stereo and you never know about it. There's no track back. There's no, like, ping, like, oop, this happened here. I mean, you get analytics.
Oh,
on
when
Anchor.
people lose interest?
There goes
3, 2...
There was a pause. Now we're gone. This is bullshit. We're out. No, we put it up on...
Tension.
We put it up on D-Sound, and I haven't checked that, actually, because I haven't logged into that account, so we might have comments. Actually, here's me being a bitch, and we might actually... No, I've got cables all over this. If you can hear noise in the background, because Dale made me aware of it, there's a potential that there's a heater that you can hear, but I'm fine
cold.
with it. We'll be freezing otherwise.
We're cold without the heater.
We've got another mini beast. We've got another mini beast situation. I just saw something on BBC's website where poor bastards are having their house fall into the sea. Alright, here we go. Positively Negative episode 1. So you can find it steamit.com/team audio. So if you are in a car, or if you're one of the 6 people, one of the 4 people, obviously 2 of us were listening, then you can talk back to us. steamit.com/team audio. I'm going to click on the link now. Let's just read what it says. Dalio replied.
Oh, hey.
Which is you.
Oh,
Yay! Super glad we got this going today despite the rain and initial setup trickiness. Smiley face, such yay. And then the second reply was me. Yeah, it had to be done. Result. Like in my usual tone. I really didn't want to do this today. No, I didn't. I don't
How do you
know.
feel about it now? Are you regretting it?
No, I don't. I think it's just momentum when you want to get going, isn't it? I think that's the biggest thing over the years when I've bumped into people who are like, you're a content creator. How do you make content? How do you find the time to make the content?
How can I has content?
It tells me a lot about people when they've asked me that question in the past, because I'd love to know what their lives are, their construct of their life is. Because there's no silver bullet. I told you about smacking lips.
Well, I was trying to get an entry into
What, by breathing?
Yeah, so I think that people
People are strange. People are strange. When you're a stranger, faces look ugly when you're alone. I need this coffee bad. No, people just seem to want this silver bullet package. You know, can you be the content creator? Can you create the content? Can you? You know, here's the brand. Here's the empathy guide we've had made on Fiverr.com. Good expensive outlay there. $5 to get your colour coded. Oh, we use green. It's chilled. You know, we use this particular minty peppermint green in that invokes trust. You know, and then they get all that done. They get the domain. They get all that done. They get lovely business cards on the heavy cardboard. I was about to say wood, but that would be wrong.
No, you're looking for the word stock.
Stock. Okay, so they get their
Card stock.
300
16-point card stock, semi-glossy, gold foil embossed, die cut.
Yeah, £300 before they've even got their first client, and then I've actually seen people like half hand one to somebody. We are going to do business together, aren't we? Because that's a
Because they didn't want to give it away.
Because that's a £9 card. That is.
Oh, get out of here!
I swear.
Gross.
I swear to God, I've seen it happen.
Don't be.
Seen it.
Don't be irresponsible and stingy.
I just didn't want to be near
Like,
it. The moment I saw it, I was like,
No, but like think about the thought process that has to go on there where you're saying I'm going to be reckless enough to buy myself a $9 a piece business cards before I have one client, but I'm going to be stingy enough.
No, I think it factors into the way that the whole world works. It's like if we can make enough hoo-ha, and if we can look good, if we can make it look good, then why not treat yourself?
Treat yourself, but don't treat anybody else. Actually, no, because that actually made me think of a quote from Parks and Rec, which we've been watching a lot lately, which was when they burn through their startup company, Entertainment 720, the character Tom says, they say you have to spend money to make money. I don't know what went wrong because we spent all our money. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that whole topic, but like, just a general notice.
you were talking about how people want you to be the content
creator, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching that
sucks.
thing earlier. I've been watching loads of stuff. You know what it's like when you've got a million tabs open and your Twitter's flying by. I clicked on a link and such, not Logan Paul, one of the other Muppets. I haven't got a clue who these people are. They're not in my demographic or age range anyway, but seem to have fallen on gobs of money. I guess one of them's got an LA mum or some connection into something. I don't give a shit. But like, I clicked on it because recently one of the live streamers that I think who I like. I don't watch him religiously, but I like his work ethic. He works really fucking hard, if I'm honest. And clicked on it. I was like, oh, somebody's donated 200k to Ninja, and then it turns out that it wasn't. He hasn't got any money. It was just clickbait. And in fact, it was one of his other friends in the same house where they all live together.
He just used Ninja in the tags and the title.
I don't know.
And then didn't even mention Ninja.
It's kind of weird. Like, grew up as a teenager with a centralised piece of lino to breakdance on, to then download music decentralised with Napster, for then to everything to be centralised again with Twitter and Facebook, for it to now be decentralised again in crypto. And yet we have these influencers who are centralising themselves in a house altogether, because obviously it works better for them, for brands. But I don't know, man. Decentralised. I'm just bamboozled by it all at times. 200,000 like that. How much is somebody making that they can drop that kind of level of money and they think, oh, that will be an impressive amount of money, instead of like, who's managing these people? Like, they need a brand. They need a manager who can say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do 100 projects, or we're going to pick 100 streamers and we're going to give them this amount each, and we're going to follow them, and we're going to watch what they can do in their own community, and watch like what they can bring to their local community.
Yeah, but like,
instead of dropping 100k on your mate who's in a room I mean,
well,
why?
he's just gonna send it back because like I'm sure they were both in on it. But my thing is like, I don't know. You can't. It kind of works though, because let's talk. Like, you were just saying that you are the furthest from this kid's demographic, and he had your attention for like however long it was to read the article. Sure. The article got written about him. It's probably one of 100,000 articles that got written about him. It's trending on Twitter. The YouTube video he made about it is probably trending because he was able to say, "This is the biggest donation of all time on Twitch." So that's obviously, no matter who does it, it's going to make, some type of wave. So I mean, if attention is the currency, then $100,000 is a bargain, isn't it?
Attention is the currency. The problem with this whole idea with the attention is the currency is that, what if our attention's on the wrong thing and we've jacked up the price of the attention so much that when we need to put our attention on something else, we don't have the physical resources to deal with it. Because I feel like it's the ultimate social media has turned into the ultimate parlor trick for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's about attention. Well, it's always been about attention. It's never not been about attention. But now we're using attention in such a way, I remember being a kid walking up on stage as part of like I don't know, mum and dad act. Like they had people go up there and you could win certain third, second, and first. You know, it was like a prize thing. Maybe I'm just being nostalgic here, but and maybe things just move on and you have to get over it because you're an old shit. But I don't know. It just seems like
Wait,
now
what was that? What happened with that being on stage?
because it was a finite amount of there was an audience,
Uh-huh.
so there's people watching the audience.
Yeah.
I guess it would be different if there was a live stream. I guess if there was a live stream connected to that, there'd be more of an audience. But I feel like I don't think we've enhanced what we were trying to get out of having the audience in the first place.
No,
So-
I don't think most
so when
people
you-
know what to do with it once they have the
So,
eyeballs.
so what I was getting at is that you have like they have a contest because they know they've got 100 people in the audience, and they need a program. They need a program of activities so that audience is enjoying it, so the audience can buy chicken in a basket with the rest of their family because they're distracted. So it's like sell them shit while they're watching the show. And I guess then I just feel like now it's more kind of like fire and forget. It's kind of
Well,
fire
yeah,
and forget.
because
It's just like
the
just
problem-
fire all the attention cannons at the internet.
That's the problem, is that nobody has the ability to sustain that. So I feel like those quick grabs, like let's say if this kid, even was calculating, which I'm not sure he even was, but let's say he was like, all right, I'm going to make a huge buzz over the weekend. This like Drake Fortnite thing was a big deal. I got to top it somehow. I got to get to the top of Twitter trending again.
And that's my point. Is it if that is the goal, and if it's all about people who are not content creators, never going to be content creators, they're coming on the internet to like consume stuff that they're not watching television, just consuming their so-called celebrities, people with lives that they want. They're watching it and like, oh, I wish my life was like that. But then they've almost devalued themselves as well because they're accepting that he's their mouthpiece for that. He's their mouthpiece for the life that they wish they had.
Right, but
we have a new kind of society again where this whole class structure that we were pissed off about the middle class and high society, all we've done is built on top of that on the internet.
Yeah, but I think that what people don't realize is that life is not as calculated as it seems. A lot of times for me comes across as just this like really desperate play to stay relevant, and so all of those things are the result of that motivation. So it's not fully formed opinion who has interests and who has like things that they're into and hobbies and then a huge cash injection and now this is the life they have. Everything that these people have is a result of what is going to get me the most clicks, the most views, the most eyeballs for the longest amount of time. And if that dips, like, do I have to buy this car? And does it have to be a Tesla? Because Teslas are like popular right now. Or
so
it's interesting to reverse engineer your life based on what you think people want to see in your life.
It's kind of interesting. Like I don't know how I'd feel about that. I feel like it's kind of a strange one, isn't it? Being on the internet and blogging and talking and recording audio and putting it out there just to make a connection with somebody. It's funny how we gave up privacy for choice, and even though we're putting this out on the internet, I never wanted that kind of attention, that the momentum of your life is running at such a tempo that you can't actually take time out to reflect and be like, no, this is not my morally, I don't feel like that's right, or ethically, or so really I guess the reason why I meet so many people without a personality these days, like they don't stand out to me, they look generic,
right,
is that they are generic because they're so tuned into the momentum of what is current and recent and relevant now,
right,
that they don't really build, like I just feel like
they're like clickbait people.
Yeah, well, I just feel like legacy is vanishing, like history is, nobody gives about shit. But I mean, I'm sure they do. I'm sure certain people in society, they go to museums and we built this in the war, and if it wasn't for this and yada yada, like absolutely, I totally understand that, I get that. But like, what's history? History is 24 hours ago, and then we're on to something else. It's kind of like, if I feel like we've amplified the consumers to such a degree, and I think the marketplace knows this as well. I think there was such in desperate times in trying to find out the demographic and sell into the right demographic, that now we have these so-called brand advocates or audience developers. I don't know. I don't know why I'm trying to unpack it, because everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got something to add to it. I just feel like when it all gets thrown together in that sort of like algorithm maker, and it spits out like, the right kind of title to use, and then you get there and it's nothing to do with it. But I was already invested in the Ninja story, because I really like Dr. Disrespect, and he only had, his numbers have dropped off, but he's still very popular, but his numbers have dropped off. But Ninja's, like, you can't help but see it on, if you go to the Twitch site, he's there, massive amount of followers. And then all of a sudden Drake, from the music industry, really, not a gamer, joins in, and then his audience comes up, and the audiences get merged. So it's like gamer meet hip hop head. It's like, oh, hello, 600k people watching, and then kind of that was really like, that permeates me, because it makes me fill up and go, yeah, cool. Now you can see the strands like joining together, because you got a lot of street knowledge. I feel like from the hip hop people, they'd listen to certain music, certain artists for certain reason, whereas you got the gamers that are just like, I want my ping to be low. Like, I don't give a shit about anything. I don't want my ping to be low. I want to be able to get number one. That's it. So you got two interesting like mergers, and then I feel like I got clickbaited to click on a title, because I was like thinking, oh, somebody gave some money to Ninja, which made me think, oh, wicked. That reinforces the whole transaction. It's kind of like, why shouldn't Ninja get money? Because that's how it works, right? If you're popular, if you're the number one at the charts, people buy your record, right? People buy your record because it's popular and they love it. So why shouldn't Ninja's grinding to get that figure? Like, the guy's on there 24. His bands have an impact on his life, his marriage, and everything. So I don't know. I got instantly turned off from that other guy, because I feel like he tricked me to try and get on board with his audience, and he did it in a sly way. So I'm out.
But I think that for them, for people who do, like, let's talk about clickbait in general, whether it be in an article or in video or just misrepresenting. I think most people don't have the reaction that you and I have, that they walk away with like, ugh. So in their mind, it's always going to be worth it, because the algorithm is going to favor them. Folks are going to be like, oh, okay. At the end of the day, even if the person didn't take the desired action, but these kids, like, and I think it started with the Vine kids, to be honest. Like, these two are from Vine, and there's something about, I think, the 6 second, these kids chasing attention 6 seconds at a time, that they're translating their hustle in a totally similar way, I think. And they don't care if they have your attention for more than 6 seconds, because that's all they ever had on Vine. So it's like, what can I do to get the widest number of people's attention for like 6 seconds, and I'll figure it out later what I'm going to do
I think
for the next 6 seconds.
I think it was different on Vine. I think it's different on every platform that comes along. I think if that wasn't the case, then Gary Vee would just hire every single like person who had a viral moment. Like, you've really got to, like, it wasn't. I don't think it's just like, oh, that Vine did well for 7 seconds, and if you really look at the LA crowd, like, a lot of them were actors. I won't say failed actors, but they weren't getting regular work.
Sure.
Right. So it was a perfect platform for that. It's funny how certain platforms support certain, certain niches of people adopt certain platforms. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt a little bit like, just got to get over it. I'm just going to get over it.
Get over it.
I'm just going to get over it and move on from it.
Get over it. No, I wouldn't blame Vine. I love Vine. I miss Vine. But, like, I just think that there was a certain type of people who, I think they just have a 6 second mentality from start to finish. And now it's on, so half the Viners went to Instagram, half the Viners went to YouTube. It's interesting to see how they're trying to continue their careers and continue their attention.
But do people have dreams anymore? Do they have dreams of where they want to be or what they want to do? Is that just a old notion from a generation past? Because I feel like if you're You know, even my daughter does it. She'll fire up YouTube. She'll watch, you know, somebody who she sees as funny or gathers her attention.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like we're almost throwing away what we want as people, or what we're capable of as people. We've become this homogenous, like, attention audience. Like, literally everything can sneak in there, can't it? Everything. Yeah. You know, like, oh, we've installed this, but you'll get 300 times more of this.
Well, I think the attention is what's seen as the accelerator. So I think, I mean, I watched that interview. I told you I was watching whichever Paul that was, Jake, or the little one. They had him on the H3 podcast, and he said, "This is what I want. I want to be the world's youngest billionaire. I want to be, I want to do what what Dre did. Dr. Dre, wow, Dre did for music and rappers. I want to do that for digital content creators." And the kid had this moment of like sentience where I could tell that that's really what he wanted in life. And whether that's your dream or a dream that you respect, it's a dream. But I think that attention gathering is used as the accelerator. It's used as that quick fuel on the fire. You know, when you just dump kerosene on a small fire, that it's just these bumps and these highs, you know.
But if everybody's using an accelerant like that, maybe it's just, again,
it's true. I agree.
Maybe it comes down to morals and ethics and being locked into a certain way. I'm not against anybody getting to somewhere faster than they did before, but at the expense of burning what?
Right.
Fossil fuels. You know, like, in some ways, I feel like the people that are consuming this content are the fossil fuels in this in some way, because they're like, there's a burn rate. It's like, oh, I've watched it for the last year. And you hear it in conversation. Oh, it's getting a bit old for me now. It's getting a bit samey. It's not. It's just legacy. But you just interpret it in a different way. It's like things get stale. Like, I don't go to McDonald's very often, like we did the other days as a bad example. But like, things just, you know, you just move on. They just become like monotonous, I guess.
But I think your receptors for excitement start to burn out. You know, it's like any other drug where it's like you're gonna burn your audience as well, because what are you gonna have to do?
Work ethic is important. I mean, like, he's probably got a brilliant work ethic. He probably works really damn hard. He probably has a bunch of video editors. He's probably, you know, put it together in a really good way. People have obviously put him front and center, like, you're really good on camera, you do XYZ. I'm not against any of that at all. But this whole, like, mechanism of how we establish relationships is important, I think. You know, and I don't know, I was just a little bit let down. I was like, oh yeah, wicked. Somebody gave some money to Ninja for not for that particular thing, but when it's like news, right? News has a value. Like, something happens, like that news around the world has a value sent to other news stations, and then 10 minutes after it, it's old news. There's no value anymore. It's been like sodding cryptocurrencies right now. There's no last week there was value in it, now there's no value in it, and now everybody's poor.
It's too real.
Everybody's poor, everybody's skint, there's no money, you know, steam is like going through the floor. It's kind of I think that's what comes out of. See, if you were just a consumer and you were just like watching stuff all the time, I don't think you worry about those things, because you know you're making enough of something that it will just keep you buoyant. But I feel like that's just my brain. I like to optimize even the downtime. You know?
Yeah.
You know, and think about. I just like to think about it. It's just the way I'm programmed. I've tried to stop being like that and lethargic about it, and just forget about it and throw it away. But it nags at me.
Yeah.
I don't know why it does that.
Well, you and I would be the ones who, when
strange.
offered the blue pill and the red pill, we'd take both.
Yeah.
And see what.
And all I'd hear is from a room in the back, just down a slide. There's a slide somewhere.
It made purple.
It made purple burns and
Did you have any dreams last night?
I don't know. I'm just glad to be here, to be honest. After this little mini beast from the east.
So stupid. Why does it have to rhyme in order to be a storm? Give me a break.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like 2 inches of snow.
There wasn't a lot. It was just, the snow was all fluffy and nice this morning. It's all gone down now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just having one of those kind of weird it's a weird March. I'll be honest.
This March. But you know what? We're not the only ones. Like, more and more people have been going through comments, and people like, I don't know what's with this March, man. I'm feeling out of it. I can't cosmic and strange, and
Super
things are
strange.
going wrong, and not that things are going quote unquote wrong, you know, but it's a I don't know. It feels like a non-month. It feels like a pocket.
Mm.
We're in some type of weird pocket.
I think we have to be careful what we watch, because we go from like watching Leslie Knope to Star Trek. Like in between it, we're like living
Like
out the
watching
physical
Japanese
version of that.
fish market documentaries.
That was cool. That was really cool. That kind of stuff. You see, again, that's a life. That is a life. Like, it might not be my life, might not be your life, but like,
yeah.
these people handed it down from their parents. I don't know. There's something solid. And again, it came money. It came down to pride.
Yeah. So if you hadn't seen either, because I think I mentioned it in my post, you mentioned it in your post this morning. Yes, last night we watched a movie about the world famous Japanese fish market where Jiro from Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Hey. Hey.
Parentheses. Hey. Gets his fish from, and it was beautifully shot and beautifully put together. And it kind of highlighted the relationship between fishermen down to the fish wholesalers, down to the fish mongers, and then over to, you know, either direct to consumers or to restaurants and to consumers. Which line of communication and trust, and that they all nobody's like saying, oh man, if I could just cut this middleman out and go straight to the fisherman, because these guys rely the expertise of the wholesalers, and the wholesalers will put the best of the best in the morning. And it was a really, really cool mutual symbiotic relationship. It was almost like watching its own ecosystem.
And I think the pride in that as well was also wanting to have the best. Maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe it's just like an analog version of some kind of organized crime structure, or like an analog Ponzi scheme. I get the fish out of the sea. I risk my life. You take the best fish. Who gets? I never saw any waste. I never saw the bad fish.
But there has to be, because if you're obsessed with the best, then everything else becomes irrelevant.
Exactly.
That's what I'm concerned about.
That's why I was just, and that's why I factored it in when you just said that. Is that, you know, if when my daughter's like, oh, I watched this guy, I'm instantly like, I've got to check this out. Is like, I want to make sure she's not watching complete garbage. And then I watch it, and it's saccharine fueled, kind of like sugary kind of, you know, discussion chat. It's just like having a best friend, or, you know, a secondary cousin or whatever. Like, why? But then I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know what my point is I'm trying to make.
Well,
but something irks at me, and yet we can watch that documentary like we did last night, and it's like there's history there. There's leg down from the family. They actually seem to love what they're doing. They laugh.
Yeah.
They take pride in it,
There's
and then it
never
came up about money. You know, these massive, big, huge tunas that are like quartering and cutting up and all, and then they're taking them off and running their sushi restaurant. And, you know, and the thing is that none of it was clickbaity. None of it was like, no, it's all right, really, it's all right. No, this tuna's good. It's all right, I promise you.
Yeah.
Like, there was never serve this in my restaurant. Nobody is going to come back to me about the food. Nobody, because you know what? I've done my what do you call
due
it?
diligence.
Yeah, I've done my due diligence. Everybody in the chain knows the score.
But it was such a matter of pride and reputation to say, you know, not only do I know, because in order to provide the best of something, you have to be able to distinguish the difference. And these guys have such a fine-tuned, like, oh, well, in March, on the third week of March, sometimes the fish are a little bit more fatty, and then this part is a little bit more tender, and so that's why we do this at this time. Like, you can't just replace that. You can't just, like...
You know what?
You can't AI that.
You know what? I think I'm just having a Doctor Who all of this. Because if you think about it, in 10 years' time, the YouTube creators of today who've done quite well out of it and made a reputation and built an audience, have like tens and 20 million people watching them like there's some kind of mini Oprah. They will have the same discussion like we're having now. Oh, it's changed, man. YouTube used to be so good, you know, and then this come along. So like that, it's a scale of economy, isn't it? It depends on the richness of how you perceive who you are, what you're doing, what value it has, the legacy that it leaves behind, and the pride in your life while you lived it. It's just a scale of economy. It's a different scale of economies. Some people do it behind closed doors. Some people do it front and center to a stage of live stream stage of millions. Your involvement. There's no such thing as a fully rounded human where like a human being is going to be. It's just it's going to be like I'd never want to be in that position. What I'm really
What
saying.
position?
Being front and center of that with like people like picking apart every what you said this and you picking those and you did that and you backtracked and whatever, and yet I feel like all of those things that we talk about, everything that gets taken out of context, is the reason why the early guinea pigs to come into digital, when we first had modems, you don't know what it's like to try and get on the internet with a pissing modem. Like, I think now you're starting to see people from my generation in their 40s with mental health issues from just too much information, too much data. I've cut down on consuming so much data, physical time, to be able to reflect and enjoy how I actually managed to stay alive till here.
Yeah.
Because we've seen a massive groundswell of change in technology. It's just getting faster and faster all the time. Well, it's just like
it's about the processing capacity. Like I realized that I hit a certain point in the day that my brain, it really starts to slow down. It's not a caffeine thing. It's not about sleep. It's not about health. It's about like our brains are not evolving. The capacity for processing information is not evolving as fast as the information that's coming at us. So we need to be responsible for the firewalls that we put up, because your brain's going to try to absorb that information whether or not it can or it can't. So, I mean, maybe younger folks are more highly adaptable to that, but I also know that I'm able to achieve a higher level of concentration and focus than I ever have from when I was younger.
Yeah, that's true.
I can really, really dial in on something for
I know what you mean.
Like a sustained amount of time.
Because you've been able to shape those tools, right, that fit around you.
Yeah.
I think that's what we've seen. So it must be working. So this stuff must be working because people have gone, this is inefficient. Let's rebuild it. Let's make it better. It's like
what stuff?
Well, all things. I'll take YouTube for instance. Like 2004, when I tried to put a video on the internet, I had nowhere to put it.
Right.
I couldn't put it on my own hosting.
Right.
The video, even the video host company. I think I was on a web host called Enterprise, believe it or not, and it was based in Jersey.
Of course it was.
And they were like, no, you can't put video on data. I had like 40 for a month or something. It's like you can't put a 3 meg 320 by 240 pixel real video on it. You'll cane your internet.
Right.
So like everything's scale of economy's changed. Data is cheap, throw away.
Sure, but what do you mean based on attention?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I didn't say anything about attention in that
you
moment.
said that's why. I don't remember. Maybe I'm out of phase. But we were talking about attention scaling and being able to have focus. So you said that's why everything's working.
Maybe, like I said, everything might be working now because we have the tools to be able to shape our attention.
Oh, I understand.
Like you said, I feel like I can concentrate better now than I've ever been. Well, I think, like YouTube, you've got somewhere where if you record a video now, you can upload it and it's stored there, and you don't have to worry about if it's going to cost you money to host it. So I think that's an interesting thing as well. If you've never been through that, you don't worry about that.
Right.
But the fact is, if you have been through that, it's still there in the back of your brain.
Even if it's not relevant.
Yeah, it's not relevant anymore.
Interesting.
But it still sits there in the back of my mind. And I think that's where the grumpy kind of back in my day. I've got on the bus before, and there's people in an elderly generation to me, and I think of the stuff that they talk about is benign. I'm like, Jesus, is that all you got to think about? So I can actually hear myself now with everything that I'm saying, realizing where my trajectory is going to. So I can kind of understand why generations are like running at full tilt. Like these people are like, just whatever, just like burn rate, burn rate, burn rate, burn relationships, whatever. Like sensationalism counts, audience counts. Like we'll burn it until there's nothing left to burn. And then what do we have? Then we have another person who's mental, walking down the coast, like telling everybody drunk out their head and on drugs. Like, I used to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
You don't know me.
I think there's gonna be a specific section of mental health therapy certification for influencers, Instagram models. We were selling so much green tea in those days.
Baba,
oh my god!
Baba,
and our butts were huge, and it was awesome.
I need you to mock me up a Microsoft certified mental health certificate.
Yeah.
Because people, there was a time when all you could ever see was get certification in Microsoft.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We need one for Microsoft certifiable.
Certified.
Person.
Oh, okay, I get you. But what about the people who need to be certified to deal with the influencers who've built their entire life on attention, and then the attention moves? Like, I think that's what we have the advantage of, the foresight of knowing, being a bit older, knowing that attention is like,
there are YouTubers here.
Everything's a trend, right?
Yeah.
Be careful.
On trend.
Like bell bottoms are not bell bottoms anymore. Whoever it was who invented bell bottoms thought they were going to be living forever on their bell bottom throne.
I guess.
But guess what? Skinny jeans came out, and we're done with those bell bottoms, bitch.
I guess attention does move. I get it. Attention does move. It moves with the times. Like, you're either popular or not. You're either being spoken about or you're not. Brands want to put money into things that are successful. They can use it as a carrier.
But I feel like there's going to be so many mental health issues because
nobody cares.
Nobody
cares.
No, I care about the people who's built their entire self-worth at 15, 16, 17 on having eyeballs and having brand deals. Yeah. And when that's gone, then what? It's like the classic child actor dysfunction.
I was just about to jump onto actors.
Yeah.
Batman. What's his name? Where was his...
Adam West?
No. But okay, best Batman ever. But that dance will always... that dancing,
George Clooney.
Dancing
Michael Caine.
No, the young kid. The young kid. The young Joker.
Oh. Yeah. Boy, you said Batman.
The Batman film. I did.
Yeah. Ledger. Heath Ledger.
Like, where was his support crew? Like...
Yeah.
There's a kid who's like future of movies was ahead of him, was just so stratospheric, and he was unhappy and depressed. Where was his support? What I don't understand is, like, instead of giving $200,000 away to one person who's in a room next to you because you want to support them and they're just going for their vision and like they're turning into a streamer, like in the same guise but from a different niche, I'm sure he got paid a lot of money to be in that film. Like, where was there something in his contract to be like, we've got somebody with you, like 24/7. You got bodyguard. You got like mental health. Like,
like a coach.
You see it in esports now. Esports, they're realizing that it's an investment because they're seeing that we can send this team of 4 or 5 boys, girls, whatever, to an event, and they could potentially walk away with 50,000, 200,000 just from playing an afternoon gaming.
Right. And having their mental state intact is an investment worth protecting.
So, why doesn't that filter down to the film industry? Why doesn't that filter down to live streaming? We've got some problems. I'm not being negative about it. Look, at the end of the day, it's your burn rate, it's your life. Do what you want.
Okay. Here's another example, though. I think Hollywood's a whole nother crazy thing because there's so much demand to want to be in Hollywood that I think the higher ups are just willing to burn through people because there's going to be the next Heath Ledger, and there's going to be the next, there's people lining up around the door. But what about that skater, that British skater who was just in the Olympics that we were watching? Yeah. No, the blonde girl who fell like 9 times. Christy. Christy, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. This girl, I watched this girl.
Yeah.
Like, I watched her entire world break down a couple times. And these are, when your entire life's work and worth is based on a 60 or 120 second race where someone can just tap you and you can fall and it's completely all over. Do those people have like therapists? Do those people have mental health watch at all times being like, this, you're okay. This is why you're okay. This is why this doesn't reflect on you as a human being. I mean, I don't feel like you can be a successful athlete without melding yourself to that purpose.
But you bring up a really interesting point that just fired off from her. But I'm sure she does, because like she's, you know, well, I don't know,
sure,
but like,
heck hope so.
You know, from a country's perspective, she might be at home on Twitter watching YouTube videos, getting clickbait to click on something about Ninja. But anyway, you know, like, she's got somebody that can help her with that. You made me realise something, is that people like her who train really hard, who have the attention, may get the support because she's skilled, she's talented, she's got the effort, determination put in it. But going back to your question about who's helping the people with mental health, it's like they're invisible, right? And because they're not visible, because they're not creating their own attention. How do you bring attention to depression? Like, people are like, oh, just get over it. You know, I'm all right, get over it. Like, just watch more YouTube, get over it. Forget it about it. You know, you're concentrating on the wrong thing. This is not just like a mood swing, it's like a chemical thing, right?
Right.
A brain chemistry thing. So I don't know, I'm just, all I'm spitballing here is if you're making any kind of level of money, there's opportunities for compassionate, focused people with ability to be able to be there for these kinds of people. When I say these kinds of people, people who are
high risk,
but also you know, they get infected by it. You know, they want more status, they want more likes, they want to be at the top of the chain, want to be followed. Like, I think there's a whole new almost breed of creatives and artists that are out there in the world that, you know, blockchain has been so liberating for them, because they already were living decentralized lives in between the grids of populations. You know, I don't fit in here and these aren't my people, whereas on decentralized network, everybody's your people, and if you decide.
I also feel like in decentralized network, what I noticed, something I actually noticed at Steamfest, was that the people occupying decentralized network are a lot more accepting of you wanting to be at least partially anonymous. Or, you know, I was in a bunch of situations where a group photo was taken and somebody, you know, had the foresight to ask, is this okay? Can I take a picture of you? Can I tag you in this? You know, on a traditional social media, you know, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it's, you can't have any level of a barrier between you and every aspect of your life and your audience, and if you want to be fully successful. But I think on the blockchain, people are much more accepting of, if you don't have an avatar that's your face, your real face, or maybe it's an illustration, that's okay. If you don't want to use your real name, or don't want to, you know, if you want to keep a layer of anonymity to what you're doing, I feel like that's so much more accepted. And I think people who have a hard time being in the spotlight, but they do want to be a part of the conversation and share what they're working on and share their art, it's kind of a more safe place, because you don't have that, well, what'd you eat for lunch, and what's your mom's name, and where do you live, and what's your dog like, and
it's interesting,
can share what they want.
It's interesting that technology changes that. You know, the platform changes that. It makes it. So I guess maybe I'm just over YouTube. Maybe I've just been over YouTube for a long time. I think as soon as the marketers moved in there and they were like, all right, we've got to make this shit pay, because that's what I do. I'm a marketer. Who's popular right now? Okay, he's popular. I bet they've had loads of conversations to sit down and say, oh, you know, you should shape your content this way and do this.
Right.
I bet they were completely malleable to that. It was like, yeah, I'll do all of that. Just sign me up as a contract. You must have X amount of money from advertising. Boom. Done.
Right.
Also validates the platform to go and post content there if other people are on there as well. So I don't know. I would just love to see that. I would love to see almost like TV and Netflix. I mean, look at Netflix, like the Blockbuster to Netflix situation. You know, Blockbuster died because the technology moved on. Like, nobody wanted to go and drive and hire tapes and put tapes in the machine
do you
anymore.
remember when you wanted to go and watch a movie and you had to get in the car in the snow, and then you had to wait online, and then you bought goobers for $4.95 when you were waiting online and you really didn't want to, and the whole thing cost you $15?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
just to go and get a damn movie.
It was never about $2.99. It was like, have I got money for pizza and chips, and I'd be driving back in the car
and
with
the
like
gas,
with my passenger seat with two videos
and then when you didn't
pizza,
rewind the
like,
VHS, you had to have the awkward librarian conversation. I'm like, you didn't rewind it last time, and you have an overdue late fee. And
my Blockbuster place, they would literally take my membership card off me. I would give them the tapes. They would put the tape in the player underneath the thing, and they wouldn't give me back my ID until it had rewind fully, so that I knew that it was like you could hear it.
Wait, you didn't just have we had a drop box. It was easy. We would just
did
like
eventually
drop, but like when you have a late fee and it's like, oh well, here it's nice that you'd like to watch a movie tonight, but you owe $6 in late fees from the last time you wanted to watch a movie.
That whole system, man, it was too centralized for me. But anyway, you know, you've seen how that works. Netflix has like invested a bunch of money in attention by getting things filmed and stuff. And I guess it's just the way things moved on. And I'm sure they put money into other projects. And maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. Maybe I need to be looking on these places for different channels of them saying, "Hey, we spent some money on this and we did this as well." It feels like a pretty ruthless planet at the best of times.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And I think for as quote unquote smart as the algorithms are, if you're getting Jake and Logan Paul stuff in your life, which you probably are the absolute like last person in the demographic sphere to be interested in that, it suggests to me that it's really not as diversified as everybody's making it out to be. No. Meaning like the content really isn't that tailored to you, because I'm getting the same garbage that you're getting that a 12-year-old's getting. Right. So, like, you're having to work harder to find what you want because you're being force-fed things that you don't want by the algorithm.
Only today I saw something from The Guardian of some 28-year-old kid who was working for some
a waitress in a cocktail bar. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Sure.
I'm so sorry. He was a 28. It was The Guardian, and he was a 28-year-old working for...
No, I'm confused because it's like the 28-year-old guardian. What was he guarding? Was it a cave? What was he guarding? No, this Guardian article about this kid who worked for Bannon, or whatever his name is, that US guy who's like on Trump's team.
Oh, Bruce Banner? Bannon?
No, it's not the Hulk, Banner. It's definitely not. He wasn't working for Facebook via the Hulk. So this kid is a UK kid, and he basically has come out and been a whistleblower and said we spent $1 million like just hammering the Facebook database for like information to basically just we're going to focus you in the election and all this stuff, and he's come out and whistleblowed about it. So we know, we all knew that, and we know that, you know, you can go anywhere in the world and sit next to some bloke who will totally just like rewrite your life, or woman will be like, no, this is what goes on, like, and then you subscribe to it, and you just lay it off. But I don't know, I just know I need to buy a van and just drive to the hills and set up my Fortnite sniper rifle just to keep crossbows for the win.
Crossbows, yeah.
But it all started around focus, didn't it? We were all like talking about focus, and you said, "Oh, we're going to do a podcast today," and you know, when you sit here and you've got a piece of electronics and some mics and stuff that enable you to reach out to other people in the world, you don't know how you're going to influence other people. You don't know the knock-on effect it has. But what I will say, what I have found is that if you don't communicate, nobody knows you even exist, and you can fall into yourself and disappear and vanish.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't have the energy to start at the beginning because it's like Sunday afternoon, like my energy was lost. But as soon as you start activating the brain, as somebody's like Dale fires questions at me and what's your opinion on this, it's almost like having digital Alzheimer's, and I'm not like taking that away from somebody in the family who has that, but like you can just disappear.
Yeah. Well, you need like a grounding agent. You need like a ping back, because then it's like, if a Phil podcasts in the forest, did it really happen?
Exactly.
And nobody hears it. Like honestly,
it's like the pen pals. You know, when I was a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where we found it. I think in the back of my magic book, there was like a what do you call it, ads. You know, do you want to have an international PayPal? Yeah, pen pal. I was like, yeah. And so I remember writing the letter out. I remember my mum putting me in the conservatory with a pencil and lined paper and like just start. And I remember being like, "Dear I don't know your name. Like, I haven't got a clue. So, like, I am Phil. I like to catch sticklebacks at the local pond. And I got this, and like, I sent it off. Went through this whole thing with my mum, putting it into the post box and looking up at the post box hole, thinking like, where's that going? Like, what happens now? Waiting for something to happen at the thing. Like, what's happening? And then I forgot about it. It was 3 weeks gone by, like 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, like one day, my mum said, "Oh, this came for you today," and it was like, I don't understand this like post for me. I have no idea what that means. And I got this letter back from this Canadian girl. I don't know if she was the same age as me or what region she was, but she started talking about, "Oh yeah, we've been out fishing with my dad today. We caught some salmon." I'm like, "What the fuck is salmon?" Like, I'm 13, 14. Like, we didn't have a lot of money in the 80s. When we didn't. We had a television. All I remember is a television with a cat that used to go behind it and take shits in front of you while you used to watch the TV. It's like, well, what the hell? I had a bit of a rough, we didn't have money. Yeah. So then you're sharing information with somebody you never met before about fish. She didn't even know what a stickleback was, so I had to explain, like, these, like, tadpole-y things that go into, like, tadpoles go into something else, and then some of them have like pointy backs, and we call them sticklebacks. I don't even know if that's a real name for them, but that's what we used to call them. So instantly you're creating an atmosphere for people to feel either like you're mental or I feel comfortable. That's what interaction is between each other is. I think it takes a while for me to wind up to that now. I think the older you get, it's like winding up a gramophone record and putting the needle on that it's never going to be, the information on it's never going to go. It's always going to be molded into that plastic. Admittedly, that plastic record might end up in the ocean with the other rest of the plastic, which we kind of need to get on top of real quick. So I guess it's this is just the needle. We have to decide to put the needle on the record,
right?
Because the drum beat drops like this. No, focus. I have trouble with focus, and I think
one of the reasons why it takes a little bit longer to like get those gears moving, I know for me is like I don't want to waste time and I don't want to waste energy. If not that it's not like I'm trying to get a specific outcome, but I think you start getting to a point when you get a little bit older where you realize that not every interaction is worth your passion. And I don't know, and because I don't know how to be like half-assed, it's a 1 or a 0. Right. Like, I'm either here and I'm showing up and I'm doing it and we're doing this thing and we're podcasting and I'm gonna put my best into it, or like tomorrow. Not at all. So you have to like I feel like you need a little bit more of an assurance when you're older, whereas when you're a kid maybe you just have like unlimited energy and you're just like, who cares? Like, you can be so reckless with your energy, so like because it's just unending. Like,
well, you feel like it's unending for sure. We're coming up to 52 minutes.
Oh hell yeah.
I think we should try and do a podcast every day regardless. Just step up to the plate.
Flex those muscles.
Because we've only got like 4 weeks until like things change in terms of you being on the other side of the world, and I think it's important to capture that from now to then, and then picking it up afterwards. Because it's the stuff that doesn't really get talked about behind the scenes.
Well, I also want to start. I don't want to do too much at once in the beginning, but I do want to.
You have a yellow light above your head, like a question.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like a ding.
It's like an actual light bulb above my head.
Dale has a question.
I do want to start doing these on, streaming these conversations on DTube.
Okay.
Because I think that'll add another layer of practice and comfortability, and I don't know. I think it'll be nice if we're not going to edit the audio, which I don't think we should anyway. No. Why not just flick a camera on? No. But I do want to. Let's do it. Let's do it every day.
Okay.
Do something at least.
All right. If you listen to this all the way to the end, wow. Why? When I met you. All right. This is.
Thank you for listening. If you've been here, that's really cool.
Episode 2 of Positively Negatively.
Positively Negative. Next, we have the Women's African Orchestra Choir of Mormon Latter-day Buddhists.
Well, you said Buddhists. My male brain went somewhere completely different.
Wow. Buddhist bodices.
Yeah, I was seeing Oktoberfest and beer coming towards me and a lot of jiggling going on.
All right. Let's call it a day, fam.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.